Welcome to a Whirly Bear Productions podcast with me, Amber Williams. We explore film finance and distribution, featuring insights from filmmakers, entertainment lawyers, and industry experts.
Today's guest is the talented Cindy Mich, an award-winning journalist and media personality who has made waves as both a filmmaker and the founder of New York City's film festival, Art is Alive. Cindy is a prolific writer, contributing to 3 digital publications while also owning and operating her own magazine, Elegant Expressions. Cindy is a powerhouse in the media world. She's regularly called upon to cover major film premieres, festivals, events, and product launches. Cindy's TV series on medical misdiagnosis is set to premiere next month, and her public access talk show, Cindy's Chat Corner, just debuted, already reaching more than 2 million subscribers across 7 states. Today we delve into her journey, discussing the significance of film festivals, what she looks for when judging films, and her transition from film to television. Okay, Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Excellent. Glad to see you here today with your beautiful background. It's absolutely gorgeous. I need to change mine. Just got like my flat hanging about in the back.
You look very smart with all the books back there and everything. It's a very intellectual look.
That's what people do, isn't it? Shuffle the books in the background.
That's
and
exactly
I'm very
what
intelligent.
they do. There you go.
Maybe I won't change it. Okay, so tell us a bit about your career, because you've done heaps of different things and you're really busy and you've accomplished a lot and everything seems really exciting. So tell us a bit about your career and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I am officially, as of this month, 55 years. So I've done a lot in the 55 years. In the beginning, I started writing when I was very young, probably about 10, 11 years old. And then by the encouragement of a very dear English teacher friend of mine, she encouraged me to enter a writing contest. So I became award-winning at like the age of 15.
Wow.
Which was super nice. I wrote this piece on freedom and liberty, and it was apparently very cool. First in the state, 10th in the nation. I was like, holy cow.
Wow, that's brilliant.
I was like, okay, this is cool. And so I went on to have kids at a younger age. So for a really long time, writing was kind of secondary. It was always there, but I went on to publish a few different books. I went on to write for some newspapers and a magazine or two. But when you have kids, and then at that time I was married for a bit, you really need a 9-to-5 job. So you're balancing both. You're trying to do your passion, and then you have the regular job. And this would go on until I turned about 40 or so. And I found my mentor, my very dear friend, John Gallagher, who is now deceased. He's a New York City infamous director. And I interviewed him one day, and he took a shine to me, and he said, I'm going to introduce you to lots of people. And that was on radio. So I started radio 13 years ago. So I was doing that, and I met him, and then he was a filmmaker, and he said, listen, I think you'd do great in film. So he got me connected with a bunch of different actors and directors. And then he said, you know what I bet would be great? Let's have you start covering some film festivals, which I did. And then once I started doing that, I realized that film festivals are lovely, big or small. However, I'm noticing that the bigger up you get, you have a lot of attention on celebrities and step and repeats, and you have people that are talking and they're doing the normal things that you do, but there's so much focus on everything else that the actual art is not being paid attention to. I also noticed that festivals were doing screenings that were lovely, but sometimes they weren't giving filmmakers what they need, like reviews and interviews and collaboration and getting to a point where they can find ways to finance and things like that. So I said, let's create a festival that does that. So 7 years ago, I created the Art is Alive Film Festival. 5 years ago, I did my first magazine, which is the Art is Alive magazine. And then I also started a black and white film festival called Bedford Falls Film Festival, named after It's Wonderful Life, of course. And now today, I literally run the magazine. I have the festival coming up in September. I'm on radio once a week. And now I have a television show on public access that's now in 12 states.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It's
very
exhausting.
Busy.
Listening to it, it's like, oh my God. And I don't do that every day all the time, by the way, because I also leave room. I do things like PR at times. I do film PR. And of course, writing. I mean, everything I do involves writing. So basically, one could just say I've spent my life being an artist who writes, who hopes to inspire and motivate other people.
Brilliant. Love it. It's good to be busy, right?
Yes. Oh, it's good to be busy, but now I'm off for a while, purposely getting caught up. I'm so overwhelmed that I'm like, I need to be off this month to just breathe and get caught up because the festival's coming. And that's a slew of stuff.
So tell us more about the festival and why people should submit to film festivals.
So we talk a lot about that. Oftentimes when I'm on social media and even in person, I'll often hear filmmakers say things like, oh, festivals are a scam and they don't have anything to offer and they're just a popularity contest. Well, they're not wrong. There are some out there that really are a popularity contest. The higher up you get, I'd love to be able to say that Sundance is completely familiar and embraces everyone. But Sundance takes about maybe 1% of indie filmmakers a year. So the deck is stacked there. Tribeca is indie friendly, but make no mistake, having relationships with the founder never hurts. So to some degree, they are right in that as far as that goes. Now, as far as the scam aspect goes, I do think that sometimes filmmakers can have a bit of an ego. I think they feel that they should be accepted all the time, and they're not. I think that they feel like, you know, a lot of us should be a one-stop shop. I am a one-stop shop. I can't speak for everyone else. Not everyone has the same finances. Not everyone has the same opportunities to get to media and reviewers, things like that. It's not that they're not trying. It's just that they may not have the resources per se. So I do think that we have value. For one, distributors will look to see what you did in the festival circuit, what your track record was. They'll look for interviews. They'll look for reviews. They'll look for director statements. They want to see traction. They want to see a following, things like that. We can provide a lot of those things for you through the circuit. And now I know that they think oftentimes it's a money grab, but if you think about it, like for instance, my festival charges at the most $30. And let's say you get 100, that's $3,000. Now imagine now finding a venue and spending 7 months out of 12 months, putting it together and hosting it and finding a venue with that money. There is no profit in any of that. So what does that tell you? I do it because I enjoy doing it, because I have a passion and I have a heart for filmmakers. So my festival in particular, this is exciting. This is our 7th year. This is the biggest year. I've had the most submissions this year than ever. This year I have 55 films. We're doing 2 panels. One is with an entertainment lawyer, because I find a lot of times people get contracts from a distributor, no clue what they're giving away. I'm like, no, you can spend 25 bucks, come to this panel, and you're going to learn. It's a straight shot version. This is what you need to look at. This is what you need to do. On the flip side of the fence, I love filmmakers. I do. And I know they go to film school and they take classes and courses, but the reality is most of them are not learning how to market and distribute their product. So sometimes people like myself will do things like film PR or sales and marketing, and we'll help them get it together. We'll help them sell and market and put media kits together, do those things. So I want to do a panel talking about film PR. It's not outrageously expensive, and it is necessary and needed sometimes. So those 2 things are happening. I have this year 10 countries represented. I have 9 student filmmakers. I have another 6 first-time filmmakers. And I believe we have 3 world premieres and 6 New York City premieres this year. And
Wow.
we have 5 special screenings, some of which come from the likes of Tribeca, AFI, and sometimes even Sundance. So I try to dabble in everything. This year, I didn't have time to do celebrity screenings. I want to say that, yes, I'll do them, but let's face it, everyone has celebrity screenings. And like we talked about, more celebrity factor, the more we get away from the art. And I really am, or it's called Art is Alive Film Festival. I'm really all about keeping this art alive, period.
So what do you look for from the film submissions? What do you like to see?
So I typically have a different way of looking at it from others. First of all, in my festival, if you submit and I have conversed with you, if I have a relationship with you, or I know you, or I've screened you, automatically I will screen the film. I do not judge anyone from the time they submit to the time that they win. So first of all, you're winning on your own merit, not because you know the founder. That's important for me. 2, I'm always looking at the story because I'm a writer. I won't lie. And I do that for 2 reasons. For one, the story needs to captivate you, the audience, but more importantly, and second of all, if you can't sell it, if it's not believable and not marketable, you're going to have 100 people seeing it, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to have a larger audience, you have to have a story that resonates all the way around. It goes without saying, my significant other was an actor. So he taught me very, very quickly the importance of audio and cinematography. So clearly some of the biggest things that I pick apart, and I'm a pretty stern judge, like I'll pick it apart big time. Because if you're watching a great film, it looks beautiful and the sound is off, on and off all throughout the film, it's a problem. So
It's
audio's a
so
real problem.
important.
Oh my gosh. And I
Yeah.
don't think even I knew how important it was till I met him. And we started talking about the importance of how to adjust audio, how it fits within the course of the story, things like that. So that's another big stickler for me. The other thing that I also look at is runtime. I think, we live in a world where people are getting used to watching The Horizons at 3 hours in a theater. I don't even know. I can't. Okay. I haven't even watched it yet. I don't even know if I can do it. But the reality is, at my festival, you are not allowed to submit anything longer than 90 minutes. My feeling is, if Marvel can't keep my attention for 90 minutes and they're Hollywood, are you going to be able to keep my attention? That's no diss on anyone. It's a long time to sit in a theater. So I have to look at that. Is that suitable? Clearly, the other thing is casting. There are a lot of times I've watched a lot of rom-coms or like serious dramas. I don't know. Sometimes the director's like, oh, yeah, perfect combination. And all I'm thinking is, I'm not buying into this. They don't even look like they'd be married. They don't even look like they date. They don't look like mother daughter. You know what I mean? So I do think it's important to take a look at how the characters fit to the story. Can you believe this? Does it look like it works? Is their relationship working for you? So I tend to be a very harsh critic on purpose, because if you can make it through me and get to the next stage, because I also have 3 other judges for each level. One for acceptance, one for nominations, one for winning. And they're all different judges. So you get fresh faces all the time, and from different countries, male and female. So I most importantly like to look for films that will touch me, make me feel anything: mad, sad, cry, laugh, cringe. I don't get a lot of horror, unfortunately. I don't know why. They don't do a lot of horror, apparently. But those are kind of all of the elements that say to me, yes, they need to get in. And then to get all the way up to the top is an even harsher, because then it really becomes, what does award winning look like to you and me versus, well, the Oscar committee is a whole nother ballgame. I'd like to think we're a whole lot legit here in the indie world, where we truly do look for the best of the best. And it's hard. I have some tremendous programs. This is going to be a real pain to pick films, because I just want to award them all, and I can't.
Yeah. What would you advise for a filmmaker going to a festival where their film is being screened, to get the most out of the experience? So like networking and things like that.
Yeah, I think that oftentimes filmmakers are so excited about the prospect of filming. And I get it. I'm a writer. I don't want to do all this other stuff. I just want to write. In fact, this is awkward because I'm always on your side of the fence. So I'm the inner. So me sitting over here, it's like, well, I could be doing this and this. No, I need to do this because it's promotion for the festival. And I've learned that the business end is important. So what I think a lot of filmmakers do is, oh yeah, I'll definitely be there for the screening. They forget your potential next investor could be there, your next cast member, your next writer, your next your gaffer, anybody, another volunteer to be on the set. So you can never, ever not take advantage of an opportunity. So I'm always saying to people, come to the mixers. Like, even when they have film blocks, like this year, you have places where you can go in between my film blocks and just shoot the breeze, talk about film, talk about what you've got for distribution. What do you need? Maybe I can help you out on a set. So collaboration and networking is one big thing. Number 2, finding fellow filmmakers. I've found that through other festivals, when I cover them, I find like minds, other people that I want to shoot with, other people that I want to work with. I find clients through other festivals. You can find work. That's another thing as far as that goes. But most importantly, if you can find people that mirror your style, or just people where you admire their films, that's a whole nother thing. Through my festival, repeatedly we had people meet there and actually shoot new projects from there. And so that's super exciting. We're building new cinema. So that's another thing. But the most important thing, I can't say it enough. It's so hard to be an independent musician, artist, filmmaker, writer. People don't show up. I mean, I have tons of friends. Oh yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm going to show up for sure. I'm definitely going to come there. Oh yeah, the event's going on for sure. I'm going to be there. Sure, half of them will make it. And I get it. People have lives. I understand that. But it is super hard without a big draw and begging and months and months of asking people to come places. It's just, that's the way it is. So realistically, a choice to show up is a choice to support independence, period. I can't say that enough. And it could be any artist at all. So that for me is always the number one, because you want to help someone. You want to help someone be seen and have their work acknowledged.
How do people submit to your film festival?
Well, when I open again, because obviously the festival is about to come. So typically this year I got pretty lucky. I don't even have to try as hard. It's word of mouth. Like, they all know me from past years, so they just keep submitting. So I usually do a threefold. I'm all over social media when I first open up, and then I usually have a promotion, so it's pretty cheap to get in. So either you look me up and then you say, "Hey, Cindy, I want to submit." I do give waivers, 5 waivers a year as well, so people can, if they have hardship or they just can't afford it. The circuit's expensive. Okay, I get that. So
Mm.
I'm more than willing to do that. So they can find me on Film Freeway. Lately, they haven't been able to, so I'm working that out. I don't know what the problem is with Film Freeway. I'm all over social media on purpose. So now people say, "Oh, I've heard of that festival before." So we're getting somewhere. I'm working on getting Oscar qualifying status. So that might up the ante a
Oh,
little bit. That would be super exciting. Um, word of mouth, obviously. And I cover 7 festivals a year usually. So I will usually pitch everyone after the festival, like, "Hey, by the way, great interview. I have a festival." And that's usually where a lot of it comes from. So I'm very, very pleased that I have to do less work to get people to submit. And I am literally not accepting less and less. So that's a good sign. I'm just getting more and more quality work and more students. That's my goal this coming year, is to get into millennials more. There's so much to be said about young filmmakers. They're the generation that's coming. They need to know how to do the work. They need to have their work seen. They need encouragement besides people that aren't their parents, you know? So yeah, I mean, or you just Google me, Cindy Mich, and then you'll find the festival and then you say, "Oh, look, she's open." And then you submit to me. That would be awesome.
So you're talking about social media. I know you've got a good following, haven't you? So
Yes,
300K. So that's a lot.
it
What
is.
do you advise in terms of strategy for getting followers and that
So,
kind of thing?
and for filmmakers in particular, and I lecture a lot about this because I've given workshops on this particular topic. Whether you believe it or not, it's important to create social media pages before you even shoot day one, before you even start. People don't realize in order to build any kind of brand, whether that's a film, a book, or otherwise, people have to believe that it exists before it does. They have to get excited about it. So I say to filmmakers in the beginning, even if you don't want to do a website per se, get yourself on Facebook, get yourself on Instagram, just start sharing it all over the place. Go into social media groups, ask all your friends, ask all your family. And then as you shoot, keep putting pictures out there, keep getting them excited. So by the time you get to a point where you're premiering, everybody already knows about this. They've been waiting months, they get super excited. On my side of the fence, when I talk to fellow media people, when I first started, nobody really knew who I was. I had published the books, but it wasn't until I started radio that people started following me. And they tell me that they did that because if you follow me on social media, you know, I am very opinionated. I am very honest. I am very kind of in your face. I'm very real about everything. So if my heart is breaking, you'll know it. And I stay true to that today. So I think is being very genuine and very open about who you are.
Mm.
People don't post often enough. Like I'll see people posting like once a week or like once every 2 weeks. No, no, no. Every other day, folks. It's every other day. For Cindy, it's every day, but that's lately because, you know, life at home has been a little more difficult. So then, you know, you're sharing with, you know, things, the festivals going on, but people will forget. So what you need to do is be in their face. You need to remind them, "Hey, I'm still here." You need to be unique. The things that you post, that's another thing. Some of the stuff I see on social media is enough for me to be like, no. So I always say to people, yes, I run a business, but I'm also a journalist. So I run a fine line. I'm told that I probably shouldn't say some things I do, but I'm like, look, my following's up there. And if they're all going to leave, I'd feel terrible, but I don't think they're going to. But I think it's important to remember that people are having a problem being nice to each other lately. They're just not being kind. I think it starts with learning who your audience is, knowing what to post, and how to touch somebody. You'd be amazed how people will follow you to the ends of the earth if you're good to them. So I think it's important to let people know that they're seen, to have a good message, to get a message out often, and also learn what not to say. I have come to learn that there are certain things that I cannot talk about, no matter what. When my partner passed, I think people were very surprised that I spoke about it at all in the beginning, and I didn't. I didn't have much to say. I've rarely done interviews about it. I don't wish to talk about it a lot because it's very painful.
Mm.
But I came to learn that it helped other people. There are other people mourning besides myself, etc. So, yeah, it's all about balance, really. And when you start watching and seeing how things are going, you realize what's working and maybe something where you might want to alter and be like, yeah, I don't know if that's going to work or not. You know what I mean?
Mm. So what platforms do you find work best for you?
Well, Facebook's a big one. They're all on Facebook. So, of course, I'm at the 5,000 mark over there. I'm a big fan lately of doing Instagram because Facebook. So here's the thing. I've noticed that now that I'm on television, I'm on a much more visual medium all the time. So of course you have to look more like this. Okay. So I understand that. And so sometimes I'll post things up and people are now starting to do the whole nitpick thing. Okay, just a helpful hint. I think you should sit like this. Maybe you should not cross your hands. Maybe you should just not this or this. So I find that sometimes I get intimidated on Facebook. I'm like, this is a little much for me. So I go over to Instagram. My following's a little lower than that. And I'm like, okay, this is a little more friendly platform. I get a lot of responses on there. Private messages, almost as much as Facebook, which is nice. Most people, I don't think, take LinkedIn as seriously enough as they should. If you're a business owner, you have to be on LinkedIn. It's so important because you are looked at as a business professional. That's where you list all your accolades. Super important to be on there. I probably should post more on there and I need to get on that. But Facebook and Instagram are my two big ones. I am on Twitter. I get on there when I can. I am not a TikTok fan. I don't know what the allure is to TikTok. In fact, I think something's very wrong with that platform. Just like what's the other one? The Snapchat, like my kids are on Snapchat, no clue what that's for. I'm like, I don't have a clue. I'm on YouTube as well, but usually obviously I only post up the interviews that I do. But I think that Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and LinkedIn should always be like your top four if you're not going to do a website or even a website too, because those are the ones where people seem to sit on Facebook. Like that's the number one. They're on there all the time. Even when they're watching a movie, they're like on the phone. It's kind of creepy actually.
Mm.
So I would say, yeah, those would be your top four, but just I would say get tougher skin because people are getting kind of rough out there and it's becoming a rough environment. So you kind of have to get on there, do your business and not live on there. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Social media can be tough for sure.
Yeah.
So you've made 3 short films yourself. Where can we watch those? And the promotional stuff aside, because we have talked about that a bit, what would you advise for short filmmakers? What would be your advice? Some golden nuggets you've learned.
Okay. So my short films. So the problem with my short films is, now this is something I don't talk about very much. So maybe somebody will watch this and they can help me. So my better half was an actor. He was my actor in part, as in he not only acted outside of me, but I created projects for him, like the short film that we did together. I turned him into a mental health patient, actually. I thought it was so cute. And it was very funny because Michael rarely ever did anything that was outside of dramatic or like scary thrillers sort of thing. So I wanted to turn him into his real self, which was very funny. So we did a lifesaver. And then we did another little short ditty called 100 Looks of Love, which is not finished. So I kind of threw that on the can on the side because obviously I was like, well, I don't know about that one. And then of course, the last one actually got turned into a black and white television series called Sunny and Trixie, where he got to play my husband and I got to play his wife, which is basically, just like real life. So who doesn't want to go to work with their partner every day? Sometimes, by the way, folks, that's a good thing. So when your better half's an actor and you're a writer, you have to keep this in mind. No matter what you do, they're going to change it on you. No matter how you think they're going to listen to everything that you tell them. No. It becomes a script that's for everyone then. And then things get altered. So you just have to learn boundaries. Like, okay, bite my tongue. It is what it is. Had to learn that the hard way a few different times. Now, I wish I could tell you that you could see these. When Michael passed, the remaining footage is actually sitting on his laptop.
Oh.
Now, when Michael got sick, he never bothered to tell me that he either changed the passwords or where to find them, etc. And we have a BitLocker on the computer. So until I can figure that out, which is almost looking towards hiring a white hacker,
yeah,
I can't release anything because I don't have all the footage. It's incredibly disheartening. I mean, I've had various thoughts about not releasing them at all because for those of us who live in this world, I know people have said how happy I should be. And I am. I'm very proud that he did 45 films and I can see those. But it's almost painful in a way now. In the beginning, it was easier to watch. Now it's more like he's right there. So your mind believes that he is right there in front of you, which he is in essence. So it's a balance again of making sure that you're able to keep it in check, because that's not what reality looks like outside of the television or outside of the movie screen. So that was a harsh reality to learn. So I'm still debating whether it would be better or worse for me to release these projects, because then I'll be seeing him all over the circuit all over again. So we'll see. Advice. I'm a terrible filmmaker, and I know this about myself. I say this because I have no patience. I think that we should be able to get on set and shoot right now and get it done in like 2 hours. There's no patience. Like, I don't understand setups. Like, he talked to me about the camera stuff. No clue. I had to learn all of that. So I have no patience. I'm a writer who doesn't like my stuff being changed. You know, some actors sit on set for 12 hours a day, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. We can't have a life. So if you don't like filmmaking, don't do it. Like, I'm pretty well committed that I'm never going to direct another film again, because I am much better suited being a judge, being a reviewer, showing films, talking about films. That's where my thing is. So I'm like, first of all, you need to know that this is something that you love doing. Second of all, you need to learn how to do a budget. And when I say that, and I don't want to say anyone can raise money. If you're clever enough and have enough help, you can get funds. But if you don't know what to do with it, and I mean marketing, promotion, getting a distributor, handling the business end, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? As far as that goes. So you need to learn how to do the budgeting part. Get familiar with sales and marketing. If you don't know somebody, hire somebody. I would definitely recommend getting every single person on that set, which is what we try to do, at least have them learn one other skill. If you're an actor, go behind the camera. If you're a gaffer, maybe you should be the director for a day. Actors should try to be the writer. It doesn't hurt to learn another profession. You know what I mean? Because then you're multifaceted on any set, which helps everybody unilaterally. But most importantly, I think at the point where you look at yourself or you look at your cast and you say, this isn't fun anymore, or I feel like we're not getting anywhere, you need to learn when to stop. I find a lot of creatives that just keep taking on more, including myself. You just keep taking on more and more. And then one day you're me, where you're saying, I'm taking off a month and a half, because if I don't, I'm going to be in the cesspool forever. So you have to learn limits. We all want to accomplish a million things, but in order to do that, again, balance and prioritize. And if it's not fun, don't do it. Or even better, my mentor used to say, Johnny would say, I know casts don't like it, but if it takes 5 years to release it, it takes 5 years. You still got it out. So he was always big on, you don't have to rush everything. You have to do what you have to do in a timely manner and in the right way. That's the best advice I can give.
That was excellent advice. I
Thank
like
you.
it.
I
And
try.
I'm curious, how did you get the TV show commissioned from the short film?
So originally, when I first put together Sunny and Trixie myself. And so we self-financed it, we self-filmed it, did all that jazz. And then, of course, we put it all together, or started putting it all together. Well, then Michael got sick, and then all bets were off, and everything's sad, of course. And when I went back to revisit it at that point, I originally approached a friend of mine who's a publicist who has an in at Netflix. And I was like, okay, what do we need to do this? And so we kind of went through the back and forth of why a TV series sells better than short films. And hands down, it seems as though TV is picked up more often than short films are. Short films have a short shelf life. People can be lazy. Like, for instance, I don't know that I want to watch Real Housewives. I'm, 4 episodes behind right now. Am I going to sit all day long and watch Real Housewives? Well, no, I'll probably do it like an hour today and space it out. So likewise with the series, we thought, okay, if we shot a 6-week television series, they had 6 weeks. If they really liked it, we had a pitch for the second series already, and it's black and white. So we're going back to the days of the honeymooners, which is exciting. So we had a good audiences, and the older people would like it and the middle-aged people would appreciate it. Maybe we'd catch some millennials. So hands down, I think it was a great choice to switch from turning it into film, because we tended to always wanted to do film. And my feeling is film is terrific, but again, shelf life, and then distribution, and then of course the value of it. Sometimes when people look that you've done a full series work-wise, they're going to be like, hey, she put together a series. She knows what she's doing. Not that I don't with a short film. Short film has their own dynamics, their own ways of doing things. TV series shot very differently, marketed differently. It's two different ways of thinking. I just feel as though the TV format as a whole is much stronger. When I did my medical misdiagnosis series, that's a television series. So that's a 9-week series where I'm interviewing different people. So it's compelling because it's not just patients or loved ones. It's, we have a lawyer and we have an insurance person and a homeopathic doctor. You're learning. So likewise with this, my hope is that they enjoy it for a longer period of time instead of a 10-minute one shot and you're done. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Doing really well.
That's what they tell me.
what advice do you have for young entrepreneurs? Because you're all over it. I mean, just apart from kind of avoiding the burnout, just I think what you're
Yeah.
alluding to, because that's
Burnout is a
very
big thing.
dangerous. You don't really know what it is until you've had it, do you?
Absolutely. I think it's incredibly easy, especially for younger entrepreneurs or anyone getting into a business, especially if you're talking arts and entertainment, incredibly easy to get discouraged, incredibly easy to get turned down a million times. Can be very frustrating process. There's a lot of egos in this industry. Not everybody plays well with each other. The deck is stacked against them because they have no experience. So I just mentored somebody recently, including my own volunteers. And here's what I said to him. I said, first of all, you can get farther if you have more value, not only to yourself, but someone else. So again, back to the theory, like I mentioned, get yourself on a set and learn everything there is to learn, or at least half of what there is to learn. Maybe you think that you want to be a producer, but in reality, you want to be a director. Maybe you want to try writing for a while. Maybe you want to try getting yourself out there in as many avenues as humanly possible. I tend to say lately, stop listening to noise that's unconstructive. So you could hear 1,000 no's in the room. I had 1 year of college. I did not finish college. I am a journalist and an award-winning journalist. I learned all of that on my own and many, many years of experience, and I got turned down about 150 times. People are still saying no to me now. And I'm like, I could quit tomorrow. But then I realized that there are people that need what I do. There are people that have said that I saved their life because of something I said. That's the power of the written word. So when you start seeing that the little things you do impact other people's lives, that says a lot. So you need to look for those moments, and then you need to start not listening to the noise that comes in. You need to surround yourself with truly supportive people. And you'll learn that when people become very successful, you get a lot of knocks on the door. Hey, can you help me out with this? Hey, I was wondering, could you do this? Oh, I get it now. So now you want to work with me, or you want to know me. So you need to learn the genuine nature of loyalty and friendship and partnering, and the value of partnering with people, even if you can't see it immediately. There's always an asset to knowing someone, meeting someone, being nice to someone, working with them for some reason. So don't discount any relationship that you come across. It's super important that you value all of those. But most importantly, at the end of the day, when I ask myself why I keep doing this, because sometimes it's financially difficult, sometimes it doesn't work out right, sometimes people are just maddening. So I ask myself, why are you doing this? Because when I write, or when I do an interview, or when I'm on this camera, even though I hate it, I get a tickle in my tummy, and that is passion. You can spend your whole life making $100,000 a year and having very little passion in your life. And I can say very confidently, since my partner is gone, I could have had that $100,000 and he still did not survive. So the reality is that you have to live for your family, your friends, the things that you love, but most importantly, you have to do something that you love. And then that gives you reason to get up in the morning and get excited and feel accomplished. I know I'm supposed to say, well, yeah, you should make a good living. I mean, what do you really need to live when you think about it? You got a house, you got a car, whatever. But the reality is if you do not have something you can be proud of doing, you have to ask yourself, what do you really have?
That's true. And you don't need a lot to live, really. People
No,
with millions and billions, like you don't need it.
right.
So
People are miserable and they make tons of money and they're all like sad and they're all over the tabloids. And it's like, God, I'm glad I'm not a celebrity. Somebody called me that the other day. They're like, you're a celebrity. I'm like, don't say that. Don't ever say that. I'm like, no, I'm just a regular girl doing a really cool career.
Yeah. So tell us more about working in television and
Yeah.
what that's been like. Because now you're a
Well,
celebrity.
oh my God. So, I chose to go to public access for a long time. I was like, oh no, I want to go on a network. Most of us at some point in time have like a level. Like we're like, okay, at what point have you reached that spot? Well, I thought I had reached that spot the last time I did a book. And then I found out apparently I'll be doing a screenplay at least, for sure. So I'm not done yet on the publishing side of things. I thought about network television, but I won't lie. Most of us that are real journalism people or newspaper folks, you watch 4 minutes of a story that's worth probably 30 minutes. And I realized that unless I get a show of my own on network television, it's always going to be that 4 or 5 minute snippet. And when you're talking about a war in Ukraine or an election or whatever, it needs far more than 4 minutes on a network television show. So I kind of lost hope in that for a while. And I said, all right, what's the next best thing? Public access. So my partner used to say to me all the time, I'd be terrified. And I'm still terrified every time I do an interview, anytime I do this, even more on the real camera, I'm terrified. And he used to remind me all the time, you do it every time. You're so terrified, you're going to ace it. The mission's going to do great. And so it was him that encouraged me. And I said, I'll try to do this, but I need you to be here. I need you to be in my eye shot so I can do this. Well, that obviously didn't happen. He is in my eye shot. He's in my house here, technically on the wall and other places, but I had to learn how to get ready and prepare for that. And sometimes it can be very hard. I learned in living with an actor, they're much better at lying to the camera than I am. So if I go on the camera and I try to not, I'm getting better at it. I mean, you wouldn't know if I were miserable right now, but I don't know that that's a great quality to have. I like to try to be very real with an audience. So, it's hard sometimes to get on the camera when life sucks and when life is hard and there's traumatic situations at home. So I've had to learn to master the art of getting in a zone where for an hour, I'm fully intent on what I'm doing. It's giving me the opportunity. I've been covering arts and entertainment a long time, and I want to try to do more investigative stuff. So the last few episodes we've had, I interviewed families of loved ones who are in prison. I wanted to get the other side of the fence. I have interviewed women who actually started a cosmetic line many, many years ago. Older ladies that are in New York City have made a big name for themselves. I just recently interviewed a 95-year-old Holocaust survivor. Those are gems. Like those are I want to do real stories. I want real people to get seen. And I also wanted to do it in a way where it wasn't just in Wisconsin or New York. And so I pitched every single public access TV station. And I said, here's my show. Tell me what you think. And I'm going to keep pitching them until I get to all 50 states. Not because I'm vain, but because a Holocaust survivor should be seen in all those places. These people should be seen. So it isn't, I say it all the time. I'm like, my tagline is usually, I don't care how I look on camera, but everybody's like, you need to care. And the journalist in me says, no, it's what this is doing that you're supposed to listen to, not the shade of my hair, not the dress I'm wearing. People are just so into the visual thing. It drives me nuts. So the outlet's allowing me to tell really good stories. I get to get new fans and followers. So of course my events will be easier and that sort of good stuff. I work a lot with publicists and it's hard to get media attention a lot. So this gives them a format because I think between all of them, there's like a subscriber base of like over 2 million. So that's a good number, when you spread it across all those, so, and I get a chance to learn stuff. Like I'm doing a show coming up with a financial advisor. I don't have a clue about some of that stuff. So I'm learning, or like life insurance. And I like to do shows that'll intrigue people. Yes, I'm doing a celebrity. Like, I have to throw those in. So I have a woman from Below Deck, the reality show. She's coming on the show. But most importantly, it allows me to cover the things I want. Usually when you are under the blanket of a network or even under a magazine or newspaper, it's their call. So selfishly, when you create your own magazine and your own show, guess what? It's only me saying no to me. So there really is no in that equation. So it ends up being a lot of people getting seen, people recognizing new people or new shows or just new things. And a lot of people will tell me, I'm supporting this person now because of you, or I saw this and I learned this. So I'd like to think I'm providing a service in doing that.
What do you see in your future and also the future of the film festival? Like, what do you want that to grow into?
Well, it's growing by leaps and bounds here, man. I mean, I gave it up a couple of years ago. I stopped doing it. I met my better half through the festival. He had his film that was screening years ago and his director submitted it. And I reached out to him and told him what a lovely performance. He was a lead actor in this dry comedy. And after a week, he answered me and he came to meet me in New York City for my birthday. And I didn't even like him at that time. Didn't even notice him. I was just like, okay. Yeah, that took about 4 months and I was just stars in the eye, completely in love after that time. So there's very special significance to the festival. First off, because I met him there. Second of all, because a lot of my dear friends come from the festival and I've seen the work and what it's yielded. I've seen distributed films and I've seen collaboration. And so that leads me to believe every year they ask me to not stop doing it. It's very important to me. And I've not only that, I've used the festival to recognize people who aren't here anymore. Mila Hudson's an actress who passed away at the age of 31. She is my Best Actress Award. Michael Madsen is my Best Actor Award. One of the
Wow.
best people in Hollywood, by the way. John Gallagher is the Best Director Award. Pat Bradley, Best Screenplay. So I'm using my festival to keep them not so much in the spotlight per se, but to have their work recognized because they deserve it. So the future of the festival, if I have my way, we'll be distributing, anywhere from 10 to 20 films a year instead of 5. We will be getting everybody reviews and interviews. There will be, 3 or 4 new films made every year. If I have my way and I make enough headway with the Academy, they will change the recommendations or regulations as it relates to becoming an award-winning or Oscar qualifying festival, because I think it's just way too difficult for most good festivals to get that. I'd be lying if I didn't say, of course, I want to be Oscar qualifying, because I don't think independents get recognized by Hollywood enough. So it's not so much for me, but more so for them. So that's the future of the festival. If you were to ask me where I want to end up, I don't know if radio will stay forever. I know that people like it. The magazine is challenging because I am technologically stupid, believe it or not. I wrote the whole last issue, but then try to put it on WordPress or one of these. I'm just not great at that. So I'm trying to debate, do I want to turn it to a newspaper? What do I want to do? We'll see how that lands. Yes, I think the future eventually, I have had a couple different friends go from public access to network television. So if you were to ask me, I can't believe I'm saying this, because I had always said I hate the camera, don't want to do this. I do think that getting on network television would probably be the end part here, meaning being able to get on there for the benefit of not myself. But again, it's always about getting other people seen. And most local stations don't just know the people I do and say, yeah, let's do a story about them. So I think it opens up a lot of gateways. I'm not doing any more film. There is talk that I might have a director shoot a film about the last part of my life with Michael. That's a consideration. So that might be out there. And of course I am doing actually the Holocaust survivor, Ben Lesser. I am doing the screenplay for his book. So we're going to turn that into a film. So I'm very excited about that. But the biggest thing is that my son is turning 18 this week, which means I'm officially an empty nester. So now I have to, I'm going to have to go through that phase of my life. And then it's just enjoying my children, grandchildren, and, just doing simple things. If anything, I do plan on slowing down a bit because I'd like to enjoy life some more instead of working. And I would like to try to change the structure of how independent filmmaking looks, either on the festival side or in some fashion, before I kind of hang up my hat and say I'm done.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Well, thank you.
I love that you have aims and goals and there's a reason
trying.
behind what you do,
Yes.
Fantastic.
You need purpose, let me tell you, because it's too easy to just be like, yeah, well, what am I doing this for? You have to keep a very good discipline and remember that there are reasons you're doing it and who you're doing it for. These people mean a great deal to me. So, and I'd like to think that Michael would be very proud of the things I'm doing.
I'm sure he would be. Definitely.
I hope so.
Oh, lovely.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we are out of time, unfortunately. I really enjoyed that. It was beautiful to listen to you talk and the way you approach life.
Sweet.
It's lovely.
Thank you.
Very interesting. And I will be covering the festival online. So thank you very much for that, Cindy.
Absolutely. Anytime I'm so excited. I can't even stand it. I just want to get to the festival already. I'm like, it's like 7 weeks away and I'm just like, are we there yet? I'm probably just getting too excited. Again, the program is just sensational. Super, super excited. So hopefully everybody can attend Artist Live Film Festival, September 10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah. Film festivals are amazing. I've been to a few. And it's like, if you go to the whole thing, it's like you're in this little bubble.
Yes.
A different world. Just like a music festival in that sense, because a music festival, you go there and you live in this little bubble and you feel like the rest of the world doesn't exist. And if you sort of cover a film festival, we'll go to the whole thing and really get into the atmosphere of it. It's really exciting. It's its own little microcosm.
Oh yeah. And then it's virtual too. So that this way then, because I know other people in other countries, other places, and I'm just like, then you can tune in, you can listen to the panels, because I do all the panels myself. And they say that that's one of the best attributes is that I give a good panel apparently, which is nice. But you do get to meet people, and we've been so lucky this year. Everybody has everybody's contact information. They've been talking amongst each other. They've been trying to learn about each other even before the festival starts. So you really almost become friends before you even get there. The people showing trailers are learning about the filmmakers, and you've got critics that are learning about everybody else. So I'm super excited that I'm able to coordinate just bonding. This is so important. I don't think people
That's
realize that.
lovely.
So need to do it, and they didn't even have to
Facilitating
go anywhere.
community.
Right. And this is
Yeah.
before you even get there. So you haven't even spent any money. Just got your little submission in, and look at what's happening already. We've got distributors already looking at films. I'm just like, this is just so cool. So I tend to, that's why when I go to the bigger festivals, I'm just like, I have no desire. I love Tribeca. I do, but I don't want to be Tribeca. I don't need to be Cannes. I don't need to do any of that stuff. I mean, unless they want to pay me that or whatever, but this for me is far more fulfilling, and I get so much good positive feedback that I'm so proud of the fact that I was able to create something that means something, even if it doesn't yield a huge profit. That's what all the side shuffles are for.
You have a legacy now. That and your children, of course.
The children
but
are the
mostly
legacy.
the festival.
The career thing is like, yeah, it's kind of cool. Yes. So yeah, we'll see what comes of it.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on the show and chatting to us about your wonderful world and career. It's brilliant. I've loved
You've been
it.
a gem. You have. You've truly been a gem. I appreciate this time. It's been wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, take care, and maybe you'll come back in the future and chat with us again about the festival, see how it changes and adapts over time. So yeah.
Oh yeah.